Hello everyone and welcome back to another episode of the MXGP Podcast Show. We promised you more this year and we're already at 2 in January, which is kicking way above our coverage. And this is arguably the most special episode we've ever done in our lives. Can hardly believe it's happened, but here we are. First of all, we're joined by the Adam Wheeler, who is a film star, journalist, author, other things? Question mark?
Yeah, thanks for the film star. Yeah, you're way off. But I can't believe you introduced me first.
Well, I think
In fact, on this.
It's bizarre if I introduce the guest before the co-host, no?
Yeah, I guess you're right in terms of formalities, but I'm just hoping I'm not going to be a third wheel on this show, Lewis. I mean, if I do try to pipe up, then do let me in occasionally.
Honestly, Adam, I'm absolutely cacking my pants. This has been such a long time coming for me. This is arguably the golden goose because joining us for the next hour or so is Dirt Store Triumphs now. Ben Watson. How's it going, Ben?
Very good. How are you?
Oh, I'm great, Ben. Thanks for asking. You
well, I know you are. I speak to you every day. So.
Yeah, you normally don't bother asking how I am, so it's nice to get that out of you. Before we get into you and everything, we're going to talk a little bit about Supercross because people want Adam's perspective also, and I think yours as well. MXGP riders commenting on Supercross is fairly big time at the moment. So, Adam, do you want to start with your takeaways from first 3 rounds, or your biggest point, or your biggest, I don't know, what's on your mind?
Maybe just from Anaheim too, Lewis. Sorry not to be there. It seemed to be kind of my race of choice in previous years because the craziness of Anaheim 1 has passed by, and Anaheim 2, the series is kicking into gear. I'm really interested to, maybe he's not too keen to talk about it, but get Ben's take on riding the KX450F. Because, as we know, it hasn't been the smoothest ride for Kawasaki. And it was quite shocking, actually, to find out that Chase Sexton's win was the first for them since 2022. It feels like a long, long time ago.
1,353 days.
I knew you'd know something like that. How many hours?
I don't know.
We're talking about Chase Sexton now. You'd know how many seconds.
Okay, this is a terrible idea. No, this puts it into perspective, right? The last time Kawasaki won a Supercross, Ben was on Kawasaki. Which
wow. Okay.
that really makes you go like, fucking hell, feels like quite a long time ago now.
Well, my thoughts are I'm impressed by Prado again. He seems to be having the first Supercross season that we kind of expected. So just differing fortunes, different levels of ability, peaks and lows of speed and potential. I think Chase Sexton's tried to ride every single main event at about 70-80% because when he's easing off like that, he just made it look so easy. So that's kind of should be his MO instead of trying to push things and then having these crazy moments of a disaster, I guess you could say. And then I'm slightly concerned about Cooper Webb because you could say, yeah, the speed is there, but how many points has he given up already? What, more than 20? And to be doing that this early in the season makes my tip for the championship look a little bit off.
I didn't know you picked Webb.
Yeah, I think I picked Webb.
Oh, okay. You must have just done that in your private time. Ben, you can answer Adam's question about Kawasaki.
Yeah, bit of a sore subject. Obviously, that year was absolutely terrible for me, but I think there's multiple reasons. Like, it wasn't just that I didn't get on with the bike or I didn't get on with the team, and it was just like it started off on the wrong foot, like immediately. Already after like Sardinia training camp, there was a bit of friction, and yeah, then I got ill in the beginning of the year, and just one thing led to another, and then at one point I was just so over it that like I just didn't even want to be riding bikes anymore. Like I remember ringing my mum saying like, "Oh, I'm done. Like I'm coming home. I don't want anything to do with this anymore." So like you can kind of imagine how my mental space was with that. But yeah, the bike for me, it was just really, I don't know, you need to ride that thing in like a completely different way to any other bike. For me, it's a bit of a switch. Like you come out of a corner and you just need to like absolutely crack the throttle open or you go nowhere. It was like just dead from the bottom unless you just really rev the thing. And like you watch Febvre on the bike and he has a real not aggressive style, but the way he opens his throttle and the way he rides a bike, comparing to someone like Prado, you listen to him riding a bike and it's like he's in fourth gear everywhere, just on such low RPM, and that's the difference between the engines for me.
Were you on
Ben?
Oh, go on, Adam.
Go on, Lewis.
Oh, okay.
Well, I just want to say, actually, did you see Lewis's very controversial question to Dan Fahey? Sort of the head of, what's his official title, Lewis?
I don't know. I had this conversation with Kawasaki after the race. No one knows who's in charge or what people are doing. There's just a lot of people who run it, and they're all like super powerful.
Well, it was clipped and it was posted to social media, and you basically said, a Kawasaki very inflexible, which he kind of railed against that question and gave some very selective answers. And I just wondered if Ben, maybe had a similar, because I mean, you've been a factory Yamaha rider, you've been a factory Beta rider. I just wondered, when you were with Kawasaki, did you feel that you could change the bike how you wanted, because you were in the factory team?
No, I had one spec bike and that was it.
Okay.
Nothing.
Oh, goodness.
No. I could change my gearing. That was it. Yeah, one spec and that was it.
Would you have been on this generation bike? Because this one came out in 2023 production-wise. So were you on it a year early?
No.
You were on the old model?
Yeah, I was on the old one. But what didn't make it like that easy for me, and also I'll say also the team, was the changeover from the previous factory Kawasaki team to where it is now with Anti. It wasn't taken very well, and then things like exhaust, for example, instead of them sending them direct from the team in Holland to the team in Belgium, the exhaust sent back to Pro Circuit in America, and then from Pro Circuit back to Belgium, just out of awkwardness, really, I guess, because they didn't take it very well. But then the engines came really late. I was on a stock engine even through like halfway through Sardinia camp, which was like halfway into obviously January. And then when I got the factory engine, it was like a new bike. Suspension was different. Everything was like needed to get used to a full new bike again. So that wasn't easy for me, but it also wasn't easy for the team. And they got that spec, which was what Febvre had, and almost won the World Championship with the year before. And that was it. Like, that was my spec for the year.
I feel like we started off very negatively. And I don't know whether you want to change subject or do you want to keep going down this path? Because we could now bring this into Yamaha and the reason why we ended up on a Kawasaki.
No, but I think Ben has to give his viewpoint on Supercross, right?
Well, okay, let's talk about that. So the reason Ben ended up on a Kawasaki, as everyone knows, because I've said it 1 million times, is Yamaha just absolutely screwed him. Just screwed him. Should have been on a Yamaha in 2022. It was all in place. I think there was contracts that said this. And Kawasaki was kind of the only option, wasn't it? And it was like a last-minute option as well, from what I remember.
Yeah. It was between me and Vlanderen, really. And then my brother Nathan had actually raced for Anti a few years before when it was Factory Husqvarna. So then I think he knew the family and he knew us pretty well. And obviously me and Calvin at that point were at a very similar kind of point in our career, let's say. And yeah, I was chosen. So that's how it went, really.
Yeah, I think it was Paris. From what I remember, it was Paris weekend, wasn't it, that you got?
Yes. I got the phone. Actually, I was on the way to Paris to watch the Supercross when I got the phone call. Yeah.
Yeah, quite late still, I'd say.
Yeah.
But put in that position by Yamaha.
Well, it was late also because the seasons were running a bit later then. It was still after COVID was still on like the 1 day format in 21. And the season, I'm pretty sure, like, if you remember, the Nations was like halfway through the year and it was still a bit messed up the calendar at that point. But yeah, it was late.
Adam, that Nations that ran halfway through the year, do you remember who won the MXGP class?
Was that guy on the Yamaha, right?
Mm-hmm. Gonna need a name.
Didn't he also win the MX2 class?
On the same day?
No.
I was going to say, that's not even possible. What are you smoking?
No.
It was
just Mantova, wasn't it?
Yep. Never forget, maybe the trickiest Ben's ever looked as well. Nice gear that day.
It was a nice setup, that one.
Honestly, we've been fucked ever since Yamaha. We cannot get a decent set of gear for the life of us. We just cannot do it. We're bouncing.
What is it this year?
We're okay, O'Neill. O'Neill is actually good now. So this is like, we're on our way back up.
Yeah, I like my kit now.
No, O'Neill's good. Yeah, O'Neill's good. I more meant like the time in the past. But we circling back, Ben, what is your biggest, takeaway or talking point from Supercross? Like, what's your number one thing on your mind?
I mean, like if you go on my social media and stuff, like I'm not a big follower of like the sport, honestly. Like I come home and I'm not one who listens to podcasts or goes through, watches YouTube of other riders' vlogs or anything like that.
Don't wind him up.
But Supercross is actually one thing that I do watch, and especially in the start of the season, because like now, we're not racing on the weekends, and I can wake up on a Sunday morning and watch all the heat races and actually get into the main. So I just kind of leave my phone on do not disturb from in the night, and then I watch everything, and then I'll go on my phone to, don't ruin any results or anything. But most impressive for me, not that it's surprising, but Tomac, I feel like he's come out and kind of everyone not wrote him off, but he's known as the old guy of the class, even though he's not that old. He's just come out and shown that, like, because he was retired and he was done pretty much. He's kind of said that he was stopping, and then now he's the guy with 2 wins and 3 podiums from 3 races. So I feel like that needs a bit of respect. And although I do feel like Chase is fast and probably the fastest, he's still doing a few of his silly things, and that's probably why he's not had the results that he deserved, let's say, up to now.
I'll tell you what, there is low-key hype that Prado can win this weekend, because I forgot it's a Triple Crown. Obviously starts then are more important, and the more I think about it, I reckon Prado might actually win a Supercross here real soon, like maybe this weekend. Adam?
Yeah, it wouldn't surprise me at all. Like last week, he was also really impressive, because you see Prado, especially in GPs as well, like he never got a bad start, but then when he did, he really struggled. And then he showed that obviously the second round with a bad start and just couldn't make any moves. But then at A2, he was good. Like he wasn't there in the beginning and actually crawled his way back up.
Actually, answer me this, Ben. Did you see the video? Actually, I think I might have sent it to you. Did you see the video of him jumping on top of the sand? In the sand turn?
Yeah, you sent me it. Yeah.
Do you reckon?
Yeah, that was impressive.
Do you reckon, like, because no other Americans tried that, so do you reckon that's just like Lommel mindset? You look at sand differently, and like he just sees it in a different way to other riders. Like maybe you would as well. Yeah,
he does. Like in sand, you know that you need to flow, like keep it going. And I feel like in Supercross, especially because the suspension's not really ideal and you're coming off of like a set of whoops into a sand section or something, I feel like when they get to the sand, it's like they slow down and really prepare for it. Whereas Prado's come from that straight and just, I don't know, seen sand, and I feel like that just comes natural. But he is a rider who can do those like unique talent, like sections like that, like you see Jet when he's hopping bumps and he's doing Jet things. I feel like Prado is also one of them riders. He was so good on a 65 that he's just so naturally talented. Those little things just come natural to him, and he has definitely more experience than anyone else he's racing with in sand.
I always thought that Ken Roxon was one of the best I saw through the sandy parts of Supercross circuits. He seemed to have that ability, which he's had his whole career actually, just to suddenly switch things and meet the demands of the track or how the bike is at that particular moment. But back to your question, Lewis, I think Jorge, if he's in the right place at the right time, then he could easily win. And by that, I mean maybe like a weather-affected race, or if he can keep healthy deep into the season when some other riders and sort of attrition's hitting, he could really make the most of it. And the more technical the tracks are, the better it's probably going to be for him once he makes those starts. So, yeah, why not?
Yeah, it'd be interesting if he does. What do you want to do next, Adam? You're cool.
Oh, Michael, goodness. I don't know. I think we have to sort of introduce Ben a bit, right? I mean, it's the first time he's on the podcast. We've had Jorge Prado on. But I was kind of thinking when you confirmed that Ben was actually going to be on, Lewis, and I didn't really actually believe it until he switched on his camera. But I was trying to think, when was the first time you were conscious of like this young British rider coming through, and, you know, had a sort of a chance to impact sort of world championship racing? Because I have my own story, but I wondered when you sort of first became aware of the Watson family.
I don't remember that at all, other than I do remember someone I was friends with in Schoolboys went riding a Meepow. I can't remember who it was, and I played Xbox with them that night. And all they kept saying was Ben Watson just absolutely like blew by me. It was unbelievable. I remember that. But my main first memory of Ben was just trying to be friends with him in the MXGP paddock and him making it insanely fucking difficult. And it's incredible. And it's proof what hard work does. Never give up, never give in. Keep on moving on and you'll get there eventually. But what's yours, Adam?
Who said we're friends now?
Wow. Oh, I don't know what to say to that. How do you handle that? I guess I did. I'd like to think so, maybe. Never
I'm
mind.
joking.
No, it's fine. Yamaha did the right thing, and Kawasaki was great. It wasn't a problem at all. That's how this can change.
I have three little observations. The first one was the first and only time I've been to the the name has just disappeared out of my head now. The huge beach race in the UK. What's it called? Western, yes, that's it.
You went to Western, Adam?
I went to Western. I was working there one year, and it was.
Why? That seems so far below you. It's unbelievable.
No, was Jeffrey Hurlings racing then?
I cannot imagine why Adam Wheeler would be at Western.
Well, I was there covering it anyway. It was the first and only time I'd been. It was freezing cold, but I was impressed by the amount of people there. And then they were doing this makeshift podium inside the Monster Energy station afterwards. And I remember this skinny kind of kid getting on the podium, and they presented the trophies. And this is where my memory fails me, because it might have actually been Nathan, or it was Nathan
story.
or Ben. But somebody won. Somebody absolutely cleaned up.
Nathan won and I finished second. It could have been that.
Oh, there we go. Right. Well, that was my first sort of introduction to the Watson kids, and you know, Ben's parents have always been nothing but lovely when I've passed by to the motorhome. So like Rob and Deb's. But yeah, that was sort of the first time I thought, okay, what's going on in that family? What are they feeding them? But then I remember, Ben, you might have to tell me what year it was, but at the Bulgarian Grand Prix, I think it was the first round of the European EMX 250. So for American listeners, that's kind of the main feeder class to MX2 World Championship. And it was at a time, I think, where it was peak EMX 250. I mean, there was a lot of names, there was a lot of talent really coming through and sort of sprouting up into World Championship contention. And then there was this really skinny, tall 15-year-old who just like burst out of nowhere and was riding like Jeffrey Hurlings, Tony Cairoli rolled into one around this Sevlievo track and just aced it. But then it was kind of underpinned a few months later in EMX 250. I think it was at the Finnish GP, where things weren't going so well for you. And your mum had she gave you a bollocking in the team awning because you had elected to wear some bizarre thermal clothing. And she was trying to lecture you by saying that you're not making the right choices and you have to grow up, mature a little bit. And I was thinking, well, that's more like a 15-year-old. So,
I do remember that like yesterday. It's mental. Because so it was my first year of full EMX was 2013, and I was racing all of them because my mum and dad, we had like a Sprinter van conversion, and dad was driving to all the races. Like we went from Finland to Latvia to Estonia. We went like from race to race, and because Nathan was doing the full EMX championship, you know, another bike in the van and me traveling around. Let's get the experience and do it. And I think the first year I qualified for, I want to say like even 2 or 3 of the races. And that was it from the full series. And then the following year came, so it was 2014. And I was with Hitachi still that year. And the truck was going because it was Banks Brown and I want to say like James Dunn. They were racing MX2. And the team said they couldn't get my bike in the truck. And so we said, okay, well, we're not going to be at the first round in Bulgaria then. So me and dad just kind of said, yeah, you know, we can't drive there. It's too far. And then on the last moment, the team said, oh, we can get a bike in the team truck for you. So me and Dad flew out with James and his dad Gary, shared a hire car and stuff, and then I went. The EMX 250 program back then was qualifying in race 1 on the first day on Saturday, and then Sunday was you did literally a few laps before the race, and then it was race 2. So I remember turning up, and then that was it. I had the red plate on Saturday evening because I won the first race, and it was a big mudder. And then I remember the track was like super glue, just down the hills was just long, sticky ruts. And I remember just that race was like one of the easiest wins ever. I just kind of stood up all around the whole track, just riding like almost enduro mode and dominated it. Actually, it was really good.
Adam, I don't know if you can ask a question about the first memory of Ben and then tell your story and end it with, actually, I don't know if that was Ben. I mean, that's a terrible podcast.
Well, that was the Western. I mean, that kind of, I was so cold that day, Lewis. But Nathan and sort of Ben were, there at the same time. Close brothers, and Nathan was actually in MXGP before Ben was.
But actually, the story about in Finland was, that's what I wanted to come to. Is I remember like yesterday, because it was like the first like real hot race we had, and it was the sand track, and I used to when I went riding, like I used to just have a set of Nike socks on in my boots and just stick my knee braces on. Like I just used to have the t-shirt that I rocked up to the track on under my body armor so I didn't get any rubbing, and just bang a shirt over. And I used to just go to the races and just do the same thing all the time. Like everyone would have, proper knee brace socks and like wearing vented jerseys and stuff. And I just never rode with anything else. And I remember just having this thick cotton t-shirt on under my body armor because that's just how I always used to ride. And it was really hot, and Mum and Dad were like, "What are you doing? Just, you should know this stuff. Like this, yeah, take it off. Just get your chest protector on and a race jersey over the top." And yeah, now like even in the winter, that's what I do. Just chest protector straight on top of a bare skin and a thin vented jersey. Keep myself as cool as possible.
Just teenagers not listening to their parents as usual, Lewis.
Yeah.
That's what it was.
It is funny though, because like now, flash forward 10 years, 11 years, 12 years, I feel like you're like one of the most, what would you say, self-capable riders, Ben. Like I feel like you do all your own shit. You know what you're doing. You can organise yourself. Like I feel like you don't have a big group around you, I guess.
Well, no, I mean, I went from like Mum and Dad kind of doing everything for me until I signed for factory Yamaha, and then I needed to move to Belgium. So I was here on my own, like never turned a washing machine on, never needed to cook for myself, and then moving to a different country and having to do literally absolutely everything for myself. And then it was them years, like 2018 was the first year where I kind of went through all that, and I think that was like really good for me. Obviously, I had finished 4th in the world that year, and just I learned so much. And then now I'm kind of stuck in that way. Like I've lived on my own ever since then, and only until now I come back to the UK because of kind of everything that's going on. And it feels weird, like living with people again, and just sticking my washing by the washing machine for Mum to do. It just feels weird.
Do we want to flash forward to 2026, Adam, and get into the meat of this, how we're not on a beta anymore and how we're on a Triumph?
Well, very quickly, Lewis, my last kind of memory, which weirdly popped up in, Apple have those photo memory things that sort of, if you have an iPad or something, you get these photo recollections. And there was one of my son Geordie and I, the first time he came to an MXGP with me, and it was Ottobiano, actually the only time I've ever been to that track for a GP race. And it was also the weekend where Yamaha were looking around for another rider. And I remember vividly going into the awning and seeing Marnik Beverts, who was the team manager of the factory Yamaha MX2 team at the time. And he was just looking down the list of MX2 standings thinking, who can we possibly sign for next year? And I said to him, look, why didn't you talk to Ben? I don't think he's got anything secure yet. Maybe he'd be a great option for Yamaha. And I think that weekend, Ben, my hazy memory again letting me down. Although I do remember being battered by 3 million insects and flies in the media centre on Sunday. Everyone was wearing towels over their heads so they could work.
It was a really hot weekend, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was roasting. But I think you were like fourth or something in one of the races for a while. You were doing really well, and then it was just everything sort of came together where Marnik thought, shit, maybe Ben will be a good fit for us, and then you were riding strongly as well.
Yeah, so that weekend was like my first breakthrough weekend. So it was 2017, and I think I'd rarely even been inside the top 10. And then Saturday in the qualifying race, I finished fourth, and that was my first wow, like I can actually do it, And then they spoke to me on that Saturday evening. I think we was having dinner together in the Red Bull restaurant, if I remember. And then Sunday came, and I remember having a big start crash like halfway down the start line with another rider, and I DNF'd the first race, and then the second race, if I remember, I think I was like 6th or 7th, which was still really good for me. So it was one of them moments where I didn't really care about the overall, or it was just good to show something and prove what I can do.
It's fair to say, Adam, without you, Ben never got the factory Yamaha ride. What, right?
No, I mean, my only contribution was saying to Marnik Reverse that Ben wasn't, signed up. But I mean, he probably would have arrived to that name anyway because, like we said, Ben had a decent weekend. But it sort of led on to a happy episode. I mean, what was it? 3 seasons then of Yamaha, and then obviously the GP wins in MX2.
It was 4 seasons with the Yamaha, 3 in 250s, 1 450. But with Hans and Marnik in the MX2 team, I did a 2+1 contract. So I was locked in for 2 years, and then obviously see how it was going. And they took me for a 3rd year. And then that 3rd year was, the most successful for me. And that's when quite late on in the season again, actually, I remember Yamaha had their full structure organized. The truck was all designed, and everything was set out for 2 riders. And then right at the last moment, because it was the COVID season, everything was running so late. They said we need to keep him. And then I remember Louis and the guys coming up to me and saying we've got to restructure everything here because we're going to keep you.
Still Britain's last GP win, Lewis?
Yeah. I mean, I'm not being funny.
Nobody
there
else
wasn't exactly anyone else
right?
that could have done anything. So
yeah, I remember how giddy you were that time. Was it Arco Di Cento and Lommel? Am I missing any races there?
Yeah, they were.
Okay.
They were the wins. Yeah.
It was. Go on.
It was. No, I was just going to say, they were really good memories. It was a strange one because I had a podium in 18. I had a podium in 19, which was a really weird one for me. And then 20 was the year. It all came in the space of a couple of weeks because they were triple headers. But as a core memory, obviously my first podium was huge because ever since I was a kid, it was if you could get on a world championship podium, there was something mental. All the years growing up, I wasn't even really thinking of winning a GP. It was just imagine getting on a podium. And then when that first happened in Russia, it was not a track for me. It was baked concrete hard, and everyone knew me as a bit of a sand rider. And that was an unexpected podium where it was wow. And I remember that day, I think it was Jonas and Prado on the podium, but I can't remember who won. I think it was actually Jonas who won. So quite funny, we're talking about Prado in Supercross now, and he was there with me on my first podium. And then 2019, I podiumed in Lommel, but that was probably the weirdest one ever because I was injured, actually. I broke my hand, and then I remember I had surgery, and I tried to race straight away in Indonesia, and because the bikes were sent out then and everything, it was 10 days after my surgery or something, and I landed off the tabletop, and the plate just kind of literally pulled out the bone, and there was a big lump on my skin from where the plate was. And I went through a few surgeons to ask the best option, and everyone said leave it, let it all set and heal in place properly, and then come back at the end of the year and get it all removed. So I went home for a few weeks, just was over it, injured. I remember just kind of going out with my friends, just doing normal stuff, didn't train a lot, I was kind of gutted. And then I said to the team, I'm going to come back to Belgium now and start riding. I think it was about a month later. And Jackie Vimon was the Yamaha trainer at that point. And he'd organised the Wednesday or Thursday before Lommel GP for all the Yamaha riders to have a coaching day, just a ride day. So they hired a little track called Axel in Holland. And I said, okay, I'm going to come and ride there. And I went there. It was my first day back on the bike. And I felt a bit of pain in my hand, but nothing like, wow. And Jackie was like, yeah, you looked quite good to me. Like, you're going to go to that race. He said, go to Lommel this weekend and just race. He said, no expectations, just go. And the team were like, no, we don't want you to ride. It's too soon. Like, and then, yeah, I ended up on the podium. So it was a real weird one, because Jackie came over to me after and he said, you see what you can do when you just go into a race with no expectation, just a relaxed mind, like go ride, see how it is. Maybe you do the first day and you say, no, it's too painful. And I remember like the Sunday evening looking at my hands, I had no skin left on my hands because of how much blisters I had, because I'd not been riding in the weeks leading up to it and stuff. And yeah, so that for me was like a real strange podium, like the most unexpected one.
The broken hand came from was that the German GP where you ran off the track and hit like the man-made lump with the Marshall stand on? Because that's still relevant even in 2025 if you talk to Tim Geiger.
Yeah, so literally what happened with Geiser, so he made a mistake and went off the track. So it was really like wet. They'd just watered the track a lot. And I landed, it was like a bit of a corner jump, and I just landed a bit sideways. I lost the rear, and then it kind of gripped and like sent me off the track. But by that point, I was like in full control, just had speed. So I'd kind of veered off the track, and if there was no lump there, I would have just kind of rode out the track and just turned and rode back in. But as I went off the track, there was those square mounds of dirt they put, and it's not even like it was on the inside of the track to stop you cutting it. It was actually on the outside of the track. So, you know, if you go off track, you're only losing time. And I hit that thing and it was just like a brick wall. The bike just stopped dead underneath me and I went obviously over, and yeah, I landed and my hand was broken.
That 2019 season was actually not great before that, was it? But what you said about Jackie saying that at Lommel, was that why 2019 started badly, because you just expected too much and you were putting too much pressure on yourself?
Yeah, because you know, I finished fourth in the world the year before, and then everyone was like expecting big things from me. Came into the pre-season races. I remember, what's the little track in France?
La Capelle?
La Capelle, maybe, yeah. I remember there was two 250 races and a super final, and I went 1-1-1 in MX2, like dominated it, won qualifying, and I was never a qualifying guy. And then there was another race, anyway, another pre-season race where I did like really well. Everyone was like, yeah, this is his year, like he can win the world championship here. And the races came and I was trying probably too hard and things just weren't going that well. And then, yeah, it was a bit like we had a big high from the start of the pre-season races to then, well, you know, and then I had that injury early on, came back too early, had another injury, missed a load of races, and then that's when Lommel came around. And then again towards the end of the season, that was when we was in Italy, and it just been announced the Team GB. It was me, Max, and Tommy, I think. And obviously Max had his lung issue at the Imola race, and then I broke my wrist that day. So two of Team GB were gone on that one day.
I had all my stuff stolen that day as well, so even the GB press was fucked.
Yeah, you lost your passport and everything,
yeah,
didn't you?
Literally everything. Going to see Max in hospital, actually. So it all links together one way or another. Jumping forward then, you're on Triumph now, Dirt Store Triumph Racing. Not the factory team, but ultimately their number 2 team, let's call it. You did have a contract with Beta for 2026. Obviously, that went away, which was probably a blessing in disguise, whatever way you want to look at it. But just explain the process of getting to this point of being on Dirt Store Triumph.
Yeah, It's I mean, it's not that confusing, or I don't know. It's like it just happened really easy. But basically, yeah, I had 3 years with Beta. Obviously, when I tore my ACL in 24, they re-signed me for another 2 years, and obviously we had a good relationship. And I don't think I did a bad job with what I was given and kind of the structure we had, because I do feel like with a few things changed, it could have been a lot better. I mean, yeah, like I was stuck in a place where I didn't really want to be, and I kind of was really easy with Beta. Like I did too many things to kind of help them instead of putting myself first. And yeah, now when I look back, I regret it a lot. And when it came to the end of last year and things were not going like how I wanted, and the development over the amount of time that we'd been together wasn't, at the speed that I really wanted or was even told, there started to become a bit of friction. And yeah, in Australia, some things happened that I don't believe should have happened. And from then on, we parted ways. So Dirt Store Nick from Dirt Store was actually a personal sponsor of mine for the last couple of years. And he's just like someone who's unbelievable for the sport. In Britain especially, he helps like so many kids. He sponsors all the series. I feel like he's one of the big people who's actually keeping the sport, going and trying to really boost it, and just putting so much from his own pockets into everything, to do with the sport when he doesn't really need to. And yeah, he was a personal sponsor on my helmet, and then he runs the Triumph team here in the UK. So when it was official that I parted ways with Beta, he was the first one to call me and said, like, look, this is a real family team. We do things like this. We'll kind of let you do what makes you happy. And for them, I was quite a big signing, because as coming from a full-time GP rider and then going back to the British Championship, it was obviously an exciting opportunity for them. But I tried to just put myself in a position where I could get the best bike and package possible to still be able to show myself at GPs, because that is still my priority. Like, people look at this move as I've gone back to the UK and I'm doing British Championship, but it's one of those reset points in my career where I still believe I've got a lot more to show and to give, to be honest.
Yeah, I think people get maybe confused, because if you were stepping from factory Yamaha to Dirt Store Triumph, and yeah, it's obviously a step back. But yes, Beta was a factory team, and I think people are like, oh, well, he was on a factory team in GPs, but it had the factory name, but that was it. Realistically, in terms of equipment, resources, knowledge, I think it's a step up in all of those ways. Just because it's a British team, people think it's going backwards, but that's not the case.
Yeah, like I'm not going to speak bad about Beta. Like we had a good time. I respect, like, I'm thankful for everything they ever did for me, obviously. But yeah, when you look from the outside, I mean, now we don't have that big shiny truck, or the from the outside, that wow factor. But their priority is just build a good bike, get me to the races, and yeah, make it the easiest possible way for me to just get results. Whether a nice fancy truck and all the gimmicky things doesn't help a rider become faster. It's give a rider a good bike and allow him to be happy, and just give him them resources to prove himself. And I feel like that's what they're doing really well at the moment.
Adam?
Ben, maybe it's a subject for another podcast or a podcast in itself, but the next Ben Watson coming along from the UK, is the country kind of screwed really for that? Because there doesn't really seem to be any names that come to mind.
I mean, it's hard for me to say because I don't watch or I don't follow anything from the UK, and I've been away from the British Championship and the small club races for so long that I just can't really keep up with it. That
says it all, right?
Keep an eye. Yeah, it does. Yeah. But at the same time, like when I was in the position of like a lot of the young kids now, my parents sacrificed so much. Like, it wasn't me who was saying to mum and dad, like, oh, I really want to go to this race or I want to do this. Like, they took me there because they wanted to give me the best opportunity, and they sacrificed so much when I was younger. They took me to all those European races when I wasn't even qualifying. And when I was on a 50cc, I raced in Loretta Lynn's, and I went to America 4 times for qualifiers, and I did mini-O's on a 65 and did all the Dutch championships, all the Dutch Supercross races. In 85cc, I raced the Dutch championship and the British championship in the same year. And just, yeah, like, my mum and dad gave up so much and put so much effort in for me. Like, now I feel a lot of people just stay in the UK. They don't, get themselves out there. And you can be winning in the UK, but you go to the Dutch races, or you go to America, for example, and you could be absolutely nowhere. And I feel some people like and feel good getting a trophy here, but they need to not be afraid of finishing 12th, but gaining and learning experience.
What's the biggest thing that's an improvement on a Triumph versus a Beta, and what's the one thing you're still trying to figure out or work on before the season?
I mean, the engine for me is just unbelievable. Like, I had a standard bike for a while and just felt so good. Like, I can ride this bike just on the throttle. It sounds strange to say, but like, I've done 30-minute motors on it without changing gear, just sitting in third gear, and that's the style I like, and that's kind of how I had my bike in Yamaha. It was very torquey, just like come out of corners and just kind of ride the bike from the throttle. When you want to go, you twist the throttle, like I was saying about Kawasaki, it was strange. You couldn't exit a corner and just kind of roll it on. You needed to make the turn, get yourself in a straight line and crack it open. And that's not really my riding style. So yeah, it was not anything secret that I didn't have great power the last few years. That's just how it was with that bike. But then I had a great chassis, and now I'm not going to talk and say like, oh, the Triumph's the best thing in the world. It's amazing, because I've still got work to do, but I'm for the moment feeling good. And obviously just to have a change after a few years on one brand is always really nice. And I think that's a bit how it is now for the likes of Jeffrey and Tim. Like, they've been with a brand for so long that you just get a spark, you get a new lease of life, because you've just got something fresh again, brings that excitement back.
Adam?
Ben, very kindly last year, you gave me a bit of interview time. I think it was in Germany, and we were speaking about Roman Federer, because you've not only been his teammate, but also like a good friend of his and a training partner. How do you kind of see his World Championship win and going into this next season? Do you think Roman still has the kind of intensity at his age to be able to take on the likes of Lucas Kühnen again, who's going to be in his second season? From what you know of him, and you know him quite sort of well, what's kind of your thoughts on how he'll be as a reigning world champ?
Yeah, first of all, I know him really well. We first started training together when we was both with Yamaha and training with Jackie Bimon, like I was explaining earlier. And then we just had a good relationship, like we worked well together. And then we've just kind of been on and off training when we're in the same area. And yeah, it's not like a religious thing that every time we go training we have to be together. But for example, this past month I've just been in Sardinia, literally got back last night. I did every day with him there. We did 15 of 21 days riding. So I've just spent a good lump of time with him and doing a lot of training. And he's not really different to any other year. He's the same. Like, if he's a little bit off to what he thinks he should be, or if he's riding well, he's got 5 Japanese people around him and 3 team vans. You know how it works there. And yeah, everything's the same. Like, they're working as if they didn't win the world title last year. He's just got a different number on his bike, to be honest.
But that's kind of unusual, because Roman, is not a group guy, is he? I mean, he tends to have 1 or 2 people that he trusts and he collaborates with. But
yeah, he's very unique. Like, I don't know why me, but I feel like I'm one of the only riders in the GP paddock that he really gets on with. And like, even his teammates now, you know, Paul's is one of the easiest guys in the paddock to get on with. He's got Matisse Valland, who's just a young kid who just loves riding his bike and playing his games in the evening. He gets on well with him, but at the same time, it's like, yeah, he just chooses. Yeah, I don't know. We just work well together. Like, also on the track, I mean, I don't know if it's because I'm someone who's not exactly fighting him for a world title. Like, he's not choosing to go train with Jeffrey Herlings, who's his main competitor or something. But I don't know. We just have a good relationship. And obviously, I mean, he's just won a world title with doing, you know, a lot of work with me in the preseason. It's not like we kind of have a set structure or something. Like, he'll just say like his plan, and I'm like, yeah, it's good, let's do it together, and that's it. It's not nothing crazy. Like, to be honest, out of our spare time, I don't speak to him that much. It's kind of just a work thing. And yeah, when I go home after riding, I don't look or think or watch too much about motocross, to be honest. I try and get a bit of time away after doing my work.
I guess you should probably confirm for people, because people are confused by this. No Argentina, probably no South Africa. We'll see how the season develops, but as of now, no Argentina, right?
No. I mean,
we tried.
We tried. I mean, I feel like I've been good with MXGP for the last however many years I've been doing that. I don't even know. I know that I've done quite a lot of GPs for my age, but yeah, I've always been good. And like, I don't know if MXGP were to help me, obviously I'd be straight there. But it's a big expense for not a lot back, to be honest. So for the team, I can understand it from their side. They're not a big factory team with huge budgets like a lot of others. So I respect that decision. But, you know, also with Nick, I kind of know what he's like. If I go to Hawks and end up doing really well, he'll be like, oh, let's go. Because my bike, as far as bikes go, it's very similar to standard of what I've got right now. So it would not be hard to get a bike out there and book myself some flights. But with MXGP, they have their system of how you have to book your flights, and hotels have to be set hotels. And it's not that easy. It's not as easy as people think, you know, just get yourself a bike out there and book yourself a flight. It's no.
Adam, let's put it on record that I don't want to say a number because I don't know what I can do. The MXGP podcast will pledge a good amount if Ben can go to Argentina. We'll give him a grand.
Goodness.
Can we do a grand? Have you got a grand?
Wow.
No? Okay, we're not doing a grand.
But I don't,
less than a grand.
I don't think a grand's going to get him very far. That's the problem.
That'll end up getting my like taxi to the airport, my coffee in the airport, and maybe my evening meals.
No, I mean, if MXGP listen to this and step up and something happens, we will contribute. Is what I mean. We're not getting you there. We're just we will help. Maybe.
I'm sure MXGP would be really grateful for that grant.
Well, I mean, it's better than nothing. I don't think a podcast has ever given a rider money to go to Argentina before. And we're grateful.
Can we organise a helmet sticker or something, Lewis? I mean, we don't
even have a logo, Adam.
Well, we're helpfully backed by DC Shoes. Lovely people over there. Perhaps they could, give Ben some decent footwear to wear. Especially because Ben's feet and Argentina don't tend to go well together.
Ben has Ben has an amazing person helping him who's talking to DC. He's talking to a bag company. He's just texted O'Neill. Ben has support, and it's really helping his career and pushing him forward with sponsors. It's wonderful what Ben has ended up having.
Have they got me a lot of stuff up to now?
Well, how are you watching Supercross, Ben?
Oh yeah, okay.
So that's $130. What was in?
Lewis got actually you've done that a couple of years, so
yeah, so that's probably $500.
$260. $260 you got me so far.
Shout out to O'Neill though. They actually just texted me and said they will get me a kidney belt for when I ride. So O'Neill just really helping British motocross.
A kidney belt?
Yeah.
I mean, a body belt.
That's
No,
like
they
just
say
stuck
kidney
in
belt
the
here.
1980s with that.
Yeah, I know. I can't ride without a body belt.
Why?
I don't know. I like the tightness feeling. Like I don't like everything feeling loose. I like it feels comfortable to me just to have everything packaged away. You know.
I think kidney belt is the least of your worries.
Okay. Well,
Just stay off the Coke and biscuits.
if we have time, I think we're going to run out of time. But I did want your opinion on this whole situation. But Adam, you have some stuff.
No, well, this was an idea I kind of had for an MXGP show. Now that Ben's on here, it adds a bit more sort of diversity and sort of some variables to it, Lewis. But I thought we could go through our favourite and worst categories because there's a few things that might be quite funny. I was making
Ben has
my
5
list.
minutes, so let's rapid fire
5
this
minutes.
now.
I thought we had him for an hour.
He said 4:05 UK time. So.
4:05.
Yeah,
Right, okay.
I'm honestly, I'm used to. I had an appointment. I said to Lewis, anytime 3, 4. I had an appointment at 4:15, so it's my fault.
Well, listen, let's Lewis and I can do ours, another time. But let's go through yours then, Ben.
Okay.
Favorite track.
Favorite track
Doesn't have to be a current one. Can be past or.
I want to say the new Argentina. So the Argentina from last year, the first round.
Cordoba.
Yeah, that was
Okay.
like, as far as tracks goes, that was unreal. To race, to ride, fun. Like jumps were nice, dirt was good. Had waves, big triples. Elevation. It's kind of a modern track on a natural spot, let's say. Good dirt.
Favorite rider for whatever reason.
Me.
Favorite rider. I mean, I don't really have a favorite rider. I'm not a massive motocross fan. Just, I don't know. Like, I really don't know. It'd have to be someone like Roxon who's kind of done a bit of everything. He was successful in GPs. He's got a real cool style. I respect the fact that he's riding a Suzuki and doing so well with something that's people say is so dated. He's been successful in Supercross, outdoor motocross. He's still up for doing all these different races, nations. Does all the off-season Supercrosses, and I don't know. I just feel like he's old. He's been there and done it all, but he's still like a top dog.
My favourite's Ben, just for the record.
What, over Chase?
Later.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll take that.
Oh, he's so fickle, Lewis.
No,
so fickle.
this is a problem with these fucking riders, right? So Chase says to me, you like Ben more than me. And now Ben's going, no, you like Chase more than me. It's too much.
And what's Jeffrey going to say as well?
Jeffrey, I don't know what's happened to Jeffrey. Jeffrey doesn't want to do the podcast. It's really emotional. I don't know. The Honda's too fast, apparently, so maybe he's working on that. I don't know. Okay. No one knows.
Well, listen, let's get back to the list. Ben, favourite team. You're not allowed to say the current one, and you don't necessarily have to say one you've been on.
Favourite team? I would say Khmer, my MX2 days, just because, I was there for 3 years and we had a lot of ups and downs. They were the ones who gave me the first, proper opportunity. And, still 2-3 years later, even during Kawasaki, the team owner of the MX2 Yamaha team carried on sponsoring me personally. And I feel like, the whole group there I had a real good relationship with and still do now. If I have a good race, he'll text me, well done, happy to see it. And, I'd never cross paths with him in the paddock and not stop there and have a good conversation with him. So as a team, I feel like he did everything properly, Hans, and also was just a really good guy with me, to be honest.
Have we got time for 3 more, Lewis?
Yeah, you'll be all right.
Right. Okay. So favorite circuit, and by that I mean the infrastructure. The whole kind of experience, the sort of the venue that makes you think, oh, I'm pumped to be racing there this weekend for a plethora of reasons.
Oh, that's a difficult one. If you was to ask me the worst, I'd say Switzerland immediately, because you have to go on a tiny little goat track. Even though I've done really well there the last couple of years, you have to go on a tiny little goat track of a circuit, and your paddock's in a different village to the race, which I just don't see. You have to cross main roads and all sorts to get there. It's just that's a bit of a wild one. But favorite, it'd have to be a flyaway. It'd have to be something like Qatar, even though the infrastructure there in Qatar wasn't amazing because you was quite away from the track. But when you're working in like MotoGP garages or like even Argentina, I like something that's different. Like you go to Argentina and you're in the most picturesque place in the world with, again, one of the most, it's not the nicest track to race and ride, to be honest, but just one of the coolest tracks in the world. And just the whole place, yeah, that's just like a really unique one. It'd have to be something like that, like Qatar or Argentina.
You said Switzerland for worst circuit. What's the worst track? I mean, what's a track where you think, oh, fucking hell? I mean, you never really gelled with Turkey, did you?
Can I have a guess of what Ben will say, quickly?
Go on then.
Turkey's a very good one, but also, despite him getting a podium there, I feel like he would say Orly or knock.
Yeah, Russia's terrible. Turkey's terrible. Switzerland's terrible. Teufelstal's terrible.
There's the MXGP calendar as a whole, but get excited.
I mean, it's just like, I don't know. We've got so many amazing tracks that why do we keep going back to Teufelstal? I mean, it looks good from the outside, but it just never races good because it's like a Scalextrics track. I mean, you land off a jump and you're in the same rut until you get to the next jump. Then you land off that one and you're in a rut until you get to the next jump. And it's like, you can't move around or do anything. That's like why I said Argentina was so good for racing, because it was that dirt which didn't get real rutty, or it just got like choppy and little berms, and you could move around on the track. You could do something. And that's what creates good racing, not over prepping and ripping, getting those sticky dirt tracks as deep as possible. It just creates follow the leader.
Lastly, what's a GP that should return to the calendar, in your opinion?
Ben would be really good around Matchams. That's a deep pool. That's a deep
Hawkston Park.
Okay, that's even deeper.
Hawkston Park, no, but I'd say, I mean, places like Beaupuig, that was like, that people say that was a real good one to race. And I mean, that was too early for me, but I don't know, one that should return. Sure there'd be some, I don't know, I need to think about these. This is hard.
Well, you did just name 3, so you did it. 4 now.
Valkenswaard's a cool one that I think should probably never have gone.
Yeah, good shout.
Is that the end of the categories, Adam?
Yes, I think that's it. Time is up.
Yeah,
but
which is
I'm
really
coming
sad.
to you next, Lewis.
Which is really sad, because I feel like I had so much more to get to, and I feel like we only scratched the surface. We might have barely done that, to be honest. But thanks for joining
We'll
us.
have to do a part 2.
Yeah, maybe on Argentina weekend, because you're not going to be there.
Maybe this podcast goes so big that we get there.
Honestly, MXGP is very aware of this podcast. So if MXGP, if you help Ben, we will really pump it up as like, look at MXGP doing amazing things. All we need, we know that we're not an officially approved team. We get it. We want that package though for Argentina. So like, we get it, we understand, but if we could have that level of support, that would be a starting point. Just for Argentina, we'll figure it out the rest of the year. Thanks.
I'll wear that really cool MXGP kit, and I'll wear big MXGP stickers on the helmet and stuff.
Yep, that as well.
Yeah, but there's no point, Lewis, because there's already too many British riders in the gate, and it's not like there's a brand new venue for the British GP this year that needs promoting. So yeah, let's forget it.
Yeah.
What a lovely way to end.
We'll have to see the the reviews of the podcast, and then we'll maybe slot in a part 2 if you've got plenty more to ask.
I've got plenty more to ask. Mainly, I think you need to be involved in the preview of me doing my 2 30-minute motos. We'll do
100%.
a breakdown before, and we'll get Tom on that one as well, because Tom will have a lot to say.
I think you actually need to go to the gym and get yourself to work for that, because
Started Monday.
Starting Monday.
No, this Monday.
When's your first day on a bike?
2 weeks tomorrow.
Okay. Have you slept since that's been organised?
No, honestly, I'm not even joking. Like, I'm not trying to be funny. I'm not like, I'm fucking cacking my pants. Bad.
You're shitting yourself.
Yeah, bad. Yeah. Like, I've not, like, this is basically a throwback to when I last raced. Like, basically, I'm remembering why riding wasn't really a good idea for me.
A bit of deja vu from the go-karting in Sweden.
Yes, because
I couldn't find your go-kart.
And this is exactly the see, this is all the good stuff. But hold on. Right. Can we do 2 minutes, because that story's really funny? Yeah?
Yeah, go on.
Okay, so Udavala's gone go-karting, right? I like to think that I'm a really good go-karter. Like, I don't think I'm good at much.
You're too big.
Lewis bigged himself up to be this Max Verstappen in a go-kart.
You're too big.
I said to Ben, like, for weeks, I feel like, before, like, Sweden, you watch, I'm going to kick your ass. Like, it's honestly, I'm amazing.
Yeah.
Like, so Ben
You're sending me pictures of the go-kart track as he was passing it on the way in. And
Ben waited. My bag got lost, so I was late to the track. Ben waited at the track just to race me. And it all got a bit too much for me in, like, the minutes before. And everyone was in the go-karts. And I couldn't find mine. And it was literally right in front of me. Like, it was literally underneath my nose. And I was like, I don't know where mine is.
So when you signed on, you got, designated a car, a number. And they were all in a line, as they are. And Lewis was pacing up and down. He's like, my go-kart's just not here. He just stood there right in front of him. Just couldn't find it. His head was gone.
So what happened?
Well, I found my go-kart, and then I had honestly, I shit you not, again, Scout's honour.
I think you was last.
No, yes, I was last, but I also had the biggest crash I've probably, motocross and go-karting combined, the biggest crash I've ever had. Like, my life flashed before my eyes. Like, I was basically out of the circuit. Like, it was bad. I don't think they've ever had a go-kart hit a tree there, but I did it.
Ben,
for
a
safety
couple of
reasons,
months
trees
ago,
are far away.
A couple of months ago, he was in intensive care and is facing financial ruin in the US. I think this idea you're taking on, Lewis, is just terrible.
My brother's flying over for this just because my family want eyes on me. That's how bad we are for this. But anyway,
dear.
That's another story for another day.
He's the only journalist I know that's ever caught Epstein-Barr. Normally that's in, like, athletes when they've absolutely run their bodies down to the ground.
There's one paragraph too much.
Also, you don't
Lewis
know.
Has got that from Media Centre.
You don't know any athletes who got Epstein-Barr and were put in intensive care.
No.
Like, normally it's I'm a little bit tired, but no, I was in intensive care. See, there's so much we missed out on. Thank you, Ben, for joining us. Long time coming. Glad you could finally make some time. Thank you, Adam, for turning up once again. Your dedication is always appreciated. And we'll be back in a couple of weeks, maybe next week. I honestly don't know. There's a lot more riders to talk to. There's a lot more to talk about. So we will see you real soon with another episode of the MXGP Podcast Show.